What's up YouTube? ThatCanuck here, and today I want to talk to you about things that you have to look out for while driving in wet weather. Now, doesn't necessarily mean to avoid them at all, because you can't avoid everything, and as part of being a motorcycle rider, you have to accept a certain number of risks. I mean, hell, that car ahead of me could pull in front of me and I would probably be prepared, but it's just things that you have to be aware of. Now, the first item in my list is big metal plates in the road, usually in construction zones. This is really bad because the water just sticks onto the surface, and your chances of hydroplaning is severe. So the best way to deal with that is just go a little bit slower. I mean, take your time, don't rush. As long as you don't have to be there in a hurry, you should be fine. Keep the bike as upright as possible, because turning on these surfaces are not really fun if you go down. And mostly all of these items on my list, it's really when you're cornering that it's the major issue. If you're going straight, there's no issue. Cornering, braking, and turning are the major culprits for going down on a wet surface. Which brings me to my next item: painted surfaces, like these arrows on the ground here. They are notorious for keeping water again on the surface, and they get really slippery. My next item is more for when it drizzles outside and it's not really raining, but there's some moisture that has already gone down on the ground, but it's not like a downpour. And it's essentially the road surface itself, because what the water will do is bring the oils to the surface, and that makes it even more slick than it is usually, and it doesn't have enough rain to wash it away. Thus, you just have a bunch of oil on the road mixed with water, so it's very slippery. And the region that has this the most is the middle of the lanes. Cars, buses drip oil all the time there, and what you want to do is just stick to where the tire treads are, either the left alleyway or the right alleyway, and you should be fine. The next item on the slippery while wet category is your mop. I mean, concrete surfaces. Yeah, that's what I meant. These are especially dangerous because they aren't as porous as blacktop, and they don't drain the water off as well. So your chances of hydroplaning are a lot greater on concrete surfaces. Now, there aren't many roads with concrete surfaces. I know that there's some on the 417 going towards Montreal, in between Cornwall and Hawkesbury. I think the rest are little sample roads that they were testing out to see whether they're economically feasible. But I'm not sure about the US. I think that there's a lot in Texas, but these are things that you're going to have to look out for while riding in wet weather. Now the next item on my list, and probably the final one, is one that I hate even more than gravel or sand or whatever you find on dirt roads. I mean, it is like the worst thing, because not only does it limit my time on the motorcycle because of the season, but essentially it is wet leaves. Now that stuff is slicker than WD-40 on your back tire. You will wipe out almost immediately if you quarter on wet leaves. I cannot emphasize this as that much. If the roads are not clean and there are wet leaves on the ground, do not take your motorcycle on down that path, because the chances of you wiping out are so immense with taking your motorcycle down a path that you know that are going to have wet leaves. Like, I'd never take my motorcycle down into Gatineau Park when it's fall, because it's almost guaranteed that there's going to be wet leaves and there's a bunch of twisties, and I do not feel like dropping my motorcycle. I just want to wish everybody a happy Canada Day, and for my American friends, a happy Independence Day on the 4th of July. And if you have a comment, leave it down below. Until then, like, subscribe, and I'll see you next week.